Today I'm going to share with you several different recipes that would fall within a budget of feeding my family for $3 per person per day or $15 per day for my family of 5. Last week we were hit with some winter weather that basically shut everything down in our area for a few days. School was canceled for most of the week, and needless to say, that threw a little bit of a kink into my plans for filming. I still plan to do another $100 budget week where I feed my family of 5 for an entire week on a $100 budget. That is coming probably at the end of the month. But because of the winter weather and our overall family schedule, friends and family that we have coming into town to visit, I ended up with only a couple of days for filming for you guys. And you know what? That's life. And that's actually one of the reasons why I try to put a lot of different kinds of videos up on my channel with different budgets, with different themes, with different topics, because depending on what's going on in our lives, sometimes from week to week, we just need something different. So in today's video, I am going to share some really cost-efficient, inexpensive, affordable, delicious family meals, and I'm going to keep that $3 per person per day budget. I had actually intended to shop at Aldi for this video, and I had a plan, and I went to Aldi, and they were out of something on my list, and I went to get another thing, and they were out of that. And by the time I got to the third thing that was on my list that I needed for that meal plan, I just decided it wasn't meant to be. So I went back to the drawing board, and here I am at Walmart. And when I was planning out what I wanted to purchase at Walmart for this meal plan, I actually couldn't decide exactly which direction to go because I had a few different ideas that would work within this budget. So I decided instead of, just doing one day of meals, that I would give you a few options, sort of like a choose your own adventure type video, or sort of like one of my favorite all-time movies, Clue, where there are alternate endings. Murder. I don't know why I love that movie. I have liked it since I was a child. It's just something that I can watch over and over again and never get tired of. If you have a movie like that, leave me a comment and let me know what it is. I don't know why this particular brand of oatmeal is still so inexpensive. It is a 16-ounce container, I guess, instead of 18 ounces, but it's $1.28 as opposed to $2.48. So I'm gonna pick up one of those. But if you are wanting to do oats, you'll see what I'm gonna do with these, and they don't have these in your store. They have just some plain packets of oatmeal. It's non-flavored oatmeal. It's 12 packets. It's $1.68. This stuff right here is only 98 cents, but it is not really cream cheese. When you turn it over and you look at the ingredients, it lists pasteurized milk and cream and then palm oil. And on the regular cream cheese, there's no oil in there. I mean, it's milk, cream cheese, cheese cultures, no palm oil. So definitely gonna go with just the regular cream cheese, even though it is 70 cents more than this imitation product. So when I was working on this meal plan yesterday, I was looking at prices in my Walmart app, but I was looking at prices at my Walmart neighborhood market instead of at my super center, and I'm shopping at my super center, and the prices are just a little bit different. So we're gonna be close. I may be just a tad over my $15 budget, but we're gonna be really close. My son does not care much for potatoes, but I am gonna be using them in this meal plan. However, in one of my alternate endings,
or did the butler do it?
I'm gonna make something with pasta or rice instead. So if you're not a potato fan, just stick with me. Everything you see here cost me $15.36 at Walmart. It looks like such a small amount, but believe it or not, I'm gonna get 3 delicious filling meals for my family from this. I have 3 red delicious apples. This is a little less than 2 pounds of apples. You could sub out a different kind if you want. I have my oats. I have 1 pint of half and half. I was delighted to find these chocolate bars in the candy section. They're a great value brand. They were $1. You're gonna see what I'm gonna do with that. I have 1 package of cream cheese. I have 1 package of smoked sausage. I was delighted to see this Hillshire Farm brand was only $2.98. They had several different kinds of smoked sausage that were right around $3. I also saw the Eckrich ones in cheddar or jalapeno, so lots of different options there at my Walmart. I have 3 cans of green beans, and then I have 5 pounds of russet potatoes, and I'm not even gonna need to use all 5 pounds of these. I'm not even even gonna probably need to use all of my oats. We're gonna have a little bit of those things left over for other meals. When it comes to cheap breakfast options, I feel like there is not another option that's as cost effective and as versatile as oatmeal. I mean, you can do so many different things with oatmeal. You can use all kinds of different toppings. You can make it hot, you can make it cold, you can turn it into smoothies. Sometimes you can make it into baked oatmeal or muffins. For this particular meal plan, what I had in mind was cooking the oatmeal. I just used water to make mine. I like my oatmeal a little thin. Do you like it thin or thick? I also chopped up the apples and I threw a few of those in with the oatmeal while it was cooking, and then I topped it with some more apples, a little bit of brown sugar, and I took that candy bar that I purchased and I chopped it up into little bitty pieces so I could sprinkle some of those over the top. And what really makes it for me is a sprinkling of sea salt, Himalayan pink sea salt over the top. It just really brings out the sweetness of the other ingredients that I put in the oatmeal. But if you want another breakfast option that is a little less healthy, albeit delicious, maybe a special treat breakfast for you or your family, then here's an idea for you. Good morning, everybody. I am up bright and early before the sun on this Friday morning to make a special breakfast of cinnamon rolls for my family. I chopped up a couple of apples and then I opened my can of cinnamon rolls. It's the Great Value brand that has 8 cinnamon rolls inside, and I placed those in a pie plate. I sprinkled the apples over the top, and then I mixed in half a cup of brown sugar with half a cup of half and half, and I poured that over the top and also sprinkled some cinnamon in there as well. They are baking in the oven now at 350. I set the timer for 20 minutes to check on them, so I'll let you know how long they take. I let mine bake at 350 for 25 minutes. I probably took them out just a couple minutes early because I failed to put a cookie sheet underneath my pie plate and it was starting to drip down into my oven, so I'm gonna have a little bit of a mess to clean up later, but that's okay. They have been resting for just about 5 minutes, and I am now just going to drizzle the icing that came with the cinnamon rolls over the top, and then these will be ready to plate up. I mean, they look delicious. They smell delicious. I can't imagine they're not gonna be delicious, but I mean, I was gonna say I'll let you know if they aren't, but there's no way these aren't gonna be super tasty. I peeled and diced about 2 pounds of potatoes, and I have those in my crock pot here with about half of an onion chopped. Totally optional if you don't wanna use the onion. I'm gonna season this with just a little bit of garlic salt, probably just about half a teaspoon or so, and some pepper. I took just 2 of my little smoked sausage links and I chopped them up into little bitty pieces, and I'm gonna spread those over the top of the potatoes. And the purpose of this is that it provides a little bit of flavor. It'll help season the soup as it cooks because these are seasoned. Now I need enough broth or water to cover the potatoes. It usually takes about 3 to 4 cups depending on how many potatoes, how much potatoes I'm using. This is about 4 cups of broth. If you're using water, you wanna make sure that you season your soup. Probably wanna use a little extra salt and pepper. This is half of my block of cream cheese. You absolutely can put this in later after the soup is cooked and stir it in, but I like to put it in while it's cooking, just right on top, because it will soften as the soup is cooking and it will be really easy to stir in. Since we wanna eat this for lunch, I'm gonna get this going on high because it will take about 3 to 4 hours on high. It would be probably about 6 to 7 on low, and then we'll come back and finish this up. My potato soup has been cooking on high for 4 hours and the potatoes are nice and tender. So I'm going to stir in that cream cheese now along with about a cup of half and half. And I am also going to stir in a cornstarch slurry, which I made from 3 tablespoons of cornstarch and 3 tablespoons of flour, because I kind of like a thicker soup. That's totally optional. You don't have to if you want it to be more like a broth-like consistency, but I kind of like it to be sort of like a chowder. Now it should only take another 15 or 20 minutes or so for this to thicken up and for everything to heat through that I just added, and then it will be ready to serve. If you have a little toast or a bread item you want to serve along with it, you certainly can. If you want to add a little bit of shredded cheese, that's an option as well, but I think it's really good and tasty all on its own. I'm also going to get tonight's dinner going in the crock pot. I had planned to make it on the stove, and you absolutely can, but I just got a new crock pot because you guys know, clearly I need another one. This is a 4.5 quart, so it's a little smaller, and I think it will work really great for what I'm going to make for dinner. Does it want to come out? Okay, there we go. Yay. In this little 4.5 quart slow cooker, I have about 5 medium potatoes peeled and halved. And now I am going to pour in my 3 cans of green beans. I did not drain them. I actually want the juices from the cans. Since I bought no salt added green beans, I am going to season these with a little bit of garlic salt. You could also put a couple pats of butter in here, salt and pepper. You could use another all-purpose seasoning. Just season them how you want. Auntie No-No's would be good. And now on top of that, I'm going to place my other 4 sausage links, which I sliced up into little rounds. If you were making this on the stove, you would just do this in a big pot and you would simmer it for about an hour on low. And the sausages actually help provide some seasoning for the green beans and the potatoes. Now we're just gonna pop the lid on this. It needs to be on low for 6 hours or high for 3. Now I chose just to peel and halve my potatoes because when this is done cooking, I'm gonna remove those potato halves and I'm going to turn them into mashed potatoes by adding some of the cream cheese that I have and a splash of the half and half or milk, seasoning them with a little salt and pepper and just mashing them all together. I used to make this all the time as just a really easy crock pot meal for busy days when I was teaching, and I would just dice up the potatoes smaller, put them on the bottom of the crock pot, layer the green beans and the sausages on top, and that would be it. That we would have a complete meal ready for us when we got home. You could also leave the potatoes out and just cook the sausages and the green beans. Just let those simmer in the crock pot or on the stove, and you could toss the potatoes in the oven and have baked potatoes with it. So lots of different options. By the way, I still have potatoes left. There's like 4 medium potatoes in here, so I can make more potatoes or more mashed potatoes. My son doesn't care for them that much, so I didn't really make enough for 5 people. I just made enough for my 2 children and my husband and myself, but you certainly could make basically double the mashed potatoes that I made. If you want another dinner option though, let me give you another idea just by swapping out a few of the ingredients from my grocery haul. I chopped up 4 of my sausage links and I have them sauteing here in a pot with just a little bit of oil. I also chopped up a little bit of onion to throw in there as well, totally optional. I'm using a jalapeno cheddar sausage this time around from Eckrich. I chopped up 2 Roma tomatoes and I'm gonna throw those in now as well and just let them kind of simmer with everything for a couple of minutes before I add the other ingredients in here. You could absolutely use canned tomatoes. I would recommend just using, one 15-ounce can or even a can of Rotel, diced tomatoes and green chilies. But Roma tomatoes are still only 98 cents a pound pretty much all year long in my area. We live in a pretty moderate climate in the center of the country, so it's pretty easy for us to have certain kinds of produce all year long. I'm also gonna press just a couple cloves of garlic in here because why not? Onions and garlic are something I pretty much always have on hand. It's such a cheap and easy way and fresh way to add a lot of flavor to your food. But again, if you don't have those things, don't sweat it, it's fine. You can add extra seasonings that you do have or just good old salt and pepper. Now I wanna add 3.5 cups of either broth or water. What I do instead of buying chicken broth like in a can or in a box in a carton is just buy a broth base or stock or bouillon like this, and I just add it whenever I add the water to add a little bit of that chicken broth flavor. I've used the powder stuff before too. Sometimes I've even used packets from ramen noodles when I'm in a pinch or I'm out. You can also add any other seasonings that you want. I'm gonna add just a little bit of pepper and just a smidge of salt. There's gonna be a lot of flavor in this from the sausages. It helps to season the recipe. For this recipe, I need 12 ounces of pasta. And I can buy the bow ties in a 12-ounce box, but the penne pasta is the same price, and I think the rotini is as well at Walmart, and I actually get 16 ounces. So what I do is just take a few handfuls out of this and I put it in a little jar that's just sort of a mix of leftover pastas, and eventually we use it for other things like soups or little lunch recipes. But I just need 12 ounces of pasta. I'm gonna add that to the pot. I'm gonna bring this to a simmer. I'm gonna cover it and let it simmer for about 10 to 12 minutes until the pasta is cooked to al dente. This is a little one-pot wonder recipe that my entire family likes. If you wanted to use rice instead of pasta, I think it would work really well with that as well. You would just want to adjust the liquids according to the amount of rice that you wanted to cook and the kind of rice that you were cooking. Also, if I'm not using potatoes at dinner, I personally would probably not buy 5 pounds of potatoes. I would just pick up about 2 pounds of potatoes from from the bulk vegetable section where they're 98 cents a pound. We don't eat a ton of potatoes, and even though they last a long time, you know, if you store them correctly, I don't really like to hang on to potatoes or purchase them in large quantities for my own family, but you can do what you see fit if you are making this meal plan work for you. My pasta has been cooking for about 10 minutes. It is cooked to al dente, and now I'm going to stir in about a 1/4 cup of half and half and 4 ounces, or you know, half of an 8-ounce block of sharp cheddar. I can find these at Walmart for about $2. You could use a different kind of cheese if you wanted to. And if I am not purchasing the cream cheese for the potato soup, I could actually use the other half of my block of cheddar for the potato soup to add a little bit of cheesy flavor instead of using the cream cheese in that recipe if I'm swapping this meal out. For this meal, I would just pick up a bag of like steam in the bag veggies like green beans or carrots or broccoli or something like that, which is exactly what I did. And I just heated those up on the stove, a little salt and pepper, a little butter. Then I have my pasta over here, a really hearty meal that is going to be very filling and really yummy. Yay. If you want more budget cooking content, be sure that you are subscribed to my channel and that you hit that little notification bell, because I'm doing lots of budget cooking content in the coming weeks. Pick out one of these videos to watch next, and I'll see you there.